What's going on? Now that's low. Maybe we should say that about um, Skywing with these no resolution, no mechanical advantage, and motorbox is going to fall off. Motorbox extension is going to fall off. I don't know. Probably grinding my axe too much here. This thing, I'm going to fly this thing later today. And I've been looking forward to it. I have a feeling it flies good. The 104 version right here certainly flies great. And so what I ended up doing, everybody likes these graphics, and they are pretty cool. It looks really good on there. Then I got my, salute to Kyle Washness there, an alien wiping off the windshield from the inside to look out. And so, yeah, what I ended up doing on this is, the electronic speed control has always worked, but the battery elimination circuit, the BEC, it never had any current coming out. So the receiver never lit up. And it was a weird time for me too because, it's my first FreeSky setup. So my first FreeSky receiver. And so it's kind of tripping like, are these receivers different? Something going on here. But I plugged power directly into the receiver and it worked. So, I knew it wasn't that. And yeah, so narrowed it down to the BEC, which is just not sending any power to the receiver. So gonna get with Extreme Flight on Monday to get a replacement out of general principle. I don't think I'm going to use it. We'll see if I do or not, but at least going to get my replacements. This thing came DOA on a new speed control with BEC, and then we'll see what happens with that. Either I might put it on, I might just throw it in a box, and go with a what was just supposed to Scorpion? I think so. That Scorpion looked pretty cool in that USB port, and just program it with your cell phone or your laptop or your PC. That looks pretty cool, and may even change the motor. Who knows? Change the whole thing out. I may change the servos too. There's only 4, so we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing with this thing. But I'm gonna fly it this way with the 62 on the endpoints, which is gonna be terrible resolution and no power because of the lack of mechanical advantage. I just want to feel it and check it all out. Then I ordered some shorter servo arms, so then we'll end up changing those out. I mean, I could drill the other ones, but might not get them all exactly the same. So yeah, I just ordered some new ones, so should be able to get the resolution mechanical advantage. Of course, the control horns really aren't in the right spot, but I may be able to work those to the other side or something. Do something with that. Especially the shorter the servo arm is, even the worse the location of the control horns are that the Skywing located on this thing. So, yeah, we'll see. I better like this plane quite a bit because I haven't liked these little electrics and don't like dealing with them or anything, but I'm all set up. It's kind of the reason I did it again, because I got those SMC batteries came in that I had back ordered, and then I have that cool high tech charger. Is it the RX 1000? So it's it has high throughput, high charge rate. It's very fast. Dual port charger. So I'm really set up to do this. I have the cool batteries, I have the cool charger, and it would be fun to have one I liked. And hopefully this is it. And the scheme is pretty nice. The graphics pretty nice. We'll see how it goes. But so yeah, also the fan wouldn't go on when I ran a separate battery to the receiver, which is how this is set up now. I only have 2800, so it's kind of heavy, but it'll be fine, for now. And then because ultimately, I'm not going to have the second battery, so the heavy will just be for the maiden today, and then when I get probably the Scorpion, or like I said, maybe I'll put in the replacement Hobby King. Is that who it is? Hobby King. Hobby Wing? Yeah, whatever it is that's in here. I mean, I might try it, or I might just put the Scorpion in. But, yeah. Um, we'll see at that point. But yeah, either way, that's the point. Whichever one I go with, I'm not going to have that second battery in there. So it'll only be heavy for the Maiden with that 2800 2-cell in there. But yeah, that when you set that up on there, the fan won't run unless you have the red wire connected, which I pulled the red wire on the lead from the throttle signal. So then I unplugged the fan from the EC and ESC, and I think it was just on the VEC, that was part of it. And then yeah, I ran an extension over and ran that into spare channel on the receiver. So now the fan runs on the speed control to keep it cool. And what else? Yeah, I had to do a battery mount for the second battery. And yeah, my first time setting up antennas on the FreeSky. So then that kind of brings up, that's kind of the end of this one. And that kind of brings up, a couple of questions that popped up about these FreeSkys. That color change is cute. Yeah, and this is the X20RS. And, I've been talking in the videos for the last 2 years about trying a new radio because, I've always gotten along real good with Futaba. I've had a few other radios through the years, but that's, pretty much been the main radio I've always had from the beginning, even though in the beginning I tried a JR and later I tried a Jetty 10 years ago. And they're all fine, but Futaba still felt the best and didn't really want to convert. But, lately, like things like knowing that the Futaba frame rate's 4 times slower, and that they just don't have any compatibility with the new feed. They don't even have compatibility with themselves. Like every time, and this has happened for decades, they come up with a new model, like it's not even backward compatible to share models, to share plane files, plane models, parameters, between radio models. And yeah, I've always thought they're good quality. I always like the feel and the flow of the setup for the menus and everything. I've always liked a lot. I can get them to do anything I want really fast. But yeah, you've heard me the last 2 years. I wanted to try a new radio, and I was really thinking Jetty was going to be the one. Kind of, I was leaning towards Powerbox 2 years ago because all my European friends that I talk to all the time. But then I want to rotate these gimbals, the entire gimbal, to get it going at an angle, for like ergonomics. Get my thumbs a little more relaxed, because my thumbs are getting pretty tight. And because I'm old. Let's see, next month I'll be 65. And so Jetty was the one I'd kind of settled on because you can rotate the gimbals, rotate the pot, the whole thing. And then but I was kind of not jumping on it just yet, but I was thinking on it. And then I was also thinking on their receivers and power, how the power safe, power expansion, whatever you want to call it, the throughput and what they'd be rated to, and looking into that. And then FreeSky, I'm running, I got a handful of them, but in this plane, even though it's a little plane, I'm running their 18 channel because they're really inexpensive and they have 3060 amp rated. So they're rated for continuous 30 amp and burst to 60 amps. So I did tests on this with Kurt Cook at Fromco some years back, where we tested like the most violent maneuvers, like full throttle blenders and stuff, to see what the current draw, the amperage draw is at the most violent times. And we were banging like 35, 40 amps at like the worst for like real quick flashes of getting that much current. But then normally drawing like 5 to 8 amps in normal flight. So even then, like, things were not set up for that. The batteries were not set up for that. And definitely the receivers, even some of the power expanders weren't really set up for it. So, we started making sure that we had the battery capacity and that we had um, the, bandwidth on the buses that we were running and the connectors, all that stuff. But yeah, this standard 18 channel receiver that's in here is only like $100 for the receiver, like $110, something like that. And it's rated, it's got XT30 connectors, two XT30s for two batteries. And yeah, it's 3060, so that should give us no problems at all. There's a bunch of guys already running it, like Juan Sanchez, and he flies faster and harder than I do. He's my idol. And he's not having any trouble. There's other guys running it too, lots of guys actually. So that seems really good and really expensive. And with the Futaba receiver with the SmartFly power expander, I spend about $500 per plane. For receiver and power management here, I'd be spending $100. So that was pretty cool, kind of a motivator on that. And the receiver has integrated fail-safe switch, plug on it. So, and then, yeah, you just plug in you can plug in any, but you just get the right connector, or just get them from FreeSky. Plug in one of the switches, and they have 2 or 3 models of the switches. It's kind of cool. And so that was one reason. And then the FreeSky, like the Jetty, you can rotate the pot. You can't rotate it as far as the Jetty. I think this is only 4 degrees of rotation, but I didn't want to rotate it very far. I just wanted a little bit. So we'll see if the 4 degrees is going to be enough. But I think I'm going to get used to that real quick. I'm going to rotate these 4 degrees, and I think I'm going to really like it. And I may want a little more, which I'm not going to get, but I will enjoy. I think I'll get used to it and not want to go back. It's like I got used to an ergonomic keyboard a long time ago. I don't even remember, 20, 30 years ago. Might be 30. And whatever it was, though, I can't go back. Like, I can't go to a straight keyboard. It immediately hurts my wrists, and sure, I could deal with it, but why bother? You can't miss what you never had, but once you had it, you can't go back. So, yeah, I like that. And the engineers and the company are pretty receptive to improvements. And, if I turn out to want, more like 8 or 10 degrees of rotation here when they only have 4, I bet you I can get that done. Just talk to them about it. But we'll see. 4 degrees may be exactly what I want. So, kind of the reason, I don't have an exact comparison yet. One of the guys that compared the 2 radios, in that I haven't even flown but 1 flight on this. I flew Alvin's little extra with that he had just put on his FreeSky, and it felt great. It felt locked in. Felt like strong bind, strong signal, good connection, good feel all the way around. But that's limited, experience with it. So it'll be a while before I have a real, solid comparison. But I know feature-wise, like one of the guys was just mentioning on YouTube, I forget all the names, but we were talking about getting the Scorpion power or electronic speed control, and and he didn't mention it, but I was thinking of getting the motor too. But he was talking about compatibility with telemetry and other features, and how they're already getting set up to be compatible with FreeSky, and FreeSky does that, constantly updating their software too to be compatible with all the new cool stuff everywhere, the new features everyone has, and so that sounds good. Futaba is like kind of the anti-compatible and anti-feature. So those things seem good. That the YouTube RC, channel where I don't even know what the name of it is now, but you can search it, where the guy did tests on the range of all the popular radios that we use. And in that, the FreeSky was like 3 times, 4 times longer distance that its range had before it dropped signal than any of the other radios. And we don't need the signal that far, but it's just nice to know, and it makes you feel good about the tech. So all in all, I feel pretty good about the tech. And then, so I just had my first experience. It was this one, where I first time ever set up playing on this radio. Didn't look at the manual or anything, and just was able to do it. The only thing that took me a minute was getting started was binding the receiver, and it was just that I didn't look at a manual or talk to anyone, and I didn't realize you had to do it in a 2-step process. First, you register it in the radio. You just hit register. It takes 1 second, and then you hit bind. And it takes another second. That's it's done. So I didn't do that. Oh, I was just reading something interesting about that too versus the other, like Futaba. I haven't looked at everybody's radios yet, but when you use a different receiver for the same plane or anything, or swapping receivers, you don't have to. It doesn't lose the memory of the and the bind parameters and everything of the last receiver. So you just go to the new receiver. But if you ever go back to the old one, it's like, I think you don't even have to rebind it. It's just, you don't have to re-register it or anything. It's just, you just go back to it and it's all there. So that's pretty cool. But that's like a lot of things with this radio. The more you find out about it, it's just like there's tons of features versus Futaba, and so that's all pretty cool. Yeah, so you got, and price too. Like these things are about $700. This is the new cool color. This color comes out in a couple weeks. And then they got the cool colors. The thing, it looks nice, it feels nice, super solid. Hall sensor gimbals, like everything's nice. The rotary turnstile knobs are nice. Got a huge screen, compared to a lot of radios like Futaba. And yeah, I was saying, like, so I set this up the first time on my own, so it took a second to learn how to register and bind, but now I would do that like super fast. And then as far as and it may be because I had experience with multiplex and Jetty, JR, Spectrum. I have a Spectrum right over there. I have it on another plane, and so forth. That it was really intuitive and easy for me to set up the servos. There's really nothing to it. And set up endpoints. So subtrims, endpoints, I reversed one servo. I think it's the rudder. Yeah, it's the only one that needed reversing. And setting up, expo, rates. In Futaba, what we call conditions. And here it's called flight modes or something different, but it's the same thing. Where you flip a switch and it's all different rates and expos and even trims and all that stuff. Futaba has that too, but it was real quick and easy to sort that out. That was the quickest part of doing this plane. All the hassles I had, grinding my axe again, but was all Skywing problems. But the radio was very quick and easy to set up. And then, it's the fact that it's also compared to Futaba and a lot of the other radios, Spectrum, JR. This is a dual band, where it also has 2.6 and also 900, megahertz. 2.6, 2.4. Now I'm already losing my mind because I have so many technologies I'm working on right now. But and the way on one, Sanchez's YouTube channel has it's Skybound RC on YouTube, and he talks to one of the guys from Free Sky. I think they call him Free Sky Steve, and he's got one of those hour-long podcast style interviews with him, and he talks a lot about the features of the radio, and it's really cool. And I'm bringing this up for a reason that I've already forgot. let's see, programming, radios. I forget why I'm bringing that up. There was a reason I was leading to that, but that's a real good video to watch. Like all one's videos, super cool. So he gives he answers a lot of questions about the radios, but now it's driving me crazy. I can't remember what I was gonna say, but this, yeah, kind of everything about it, the quality, size, the feel, the big screen, how intuitive it was for me to set everything up, the telemetry, the compatibility, the frame rate. Yeah, it's kind of all the price of the receivers, the setup for throughput, on the receivers, the power expanding capabilities, that it's over the old style receivers, where you're just going in with a 2 amp battery connector on your battery, maybe 2 of those on there, that you're trying to provide all that current, which we're hitting 40, 50 amps, for moments, and a lot of times we're bringing it out at just like a constant, like 10 to 15 amps, maybe even 20, and that's pretty constant, and then you can't get that through the small connector, so you need something. And yeah, to have those 2 XT30s and a bigger bus, like a manifold in there, to branch off of, and the price point. So that's kind of repetitive because I was trying to think what that was. I don't know if I guys showed you these eyes I put on my pilot that I did the little X's on. That pilot's going to go in here. Can't wait to get that on here. That brings us up to graphics. So yeah, graphics. And then I finally got the mirrored reverse, and that's something I want to show. I had this one because this is regular, straight, and this is on B&E graphics now. I was having another guy do it locally, but I finally got B&E to do the mirrored horizontal, because he was getting it right sometimes, and other times he wasn't. He got frustrated. He didn't want to make them anymore. And I go, well, why don't you just make it and put it on the dang website like you got everything else, and then we can all scale it, get our own colors, do it whatever we want. And he goes, good idea. So then he put it up like instantly. And now I don't even have to explain it to him anymore. I just go right to the B&E Graphics website and just pull this up and make it any size and color that I want. And I thought I'd tell you guys about that too, just in case anybody wants to be cool like me and do a mirrored horizontal high-tech, which looks really balanced on the planes. It looks kind of cool. And then for this plane, I mean, I could see this wing so well. That's why I got it so big this time and in red. And I could not see this plane at all. I can't see yellow and silver in the air, even a little. But I saw this big red on this. But I put a skull and crossbones on this temporarily on this side, and that helped a little bit. But now it goes all the way across the wing. So now I'm going to really be able to see this. And then I wanted a bunch of red on the cowl too, and I was trying to think of what I could put on here that would be cool, but I just want the red. I want to be able to see the plane. And I go, what can I write on there? I go, now that's low. So I thought that'd be pretty cool, but I'm going to be able to see that real good. And of course, I always love my, why so serious stickers for all the people who take themselves too serious at these flying fields. Shit, man. Is that kind of wrap up everything? In the comments, Dandy Don, he's got this problem we had 25 years ago all the time, but we don't have it anymore. I can't remember having it the longest time, but he developed it too, which we used to get it on new planes sometimes, where we get it like a new DA-150 and we'd put in the cardan and all new, and then go do the maiden, and we'd always be worried, in the first couple flights we'd go knife edge or inverted, that it was gonna start to stumble and maybe dead stick. I don't know why that was, and then we would work on planes that had those problems. I remember brazing on a nipple to the atmospheric pressure hole and then running a Tygon into the fuse. Can't remember if that was what we ultimately did to solve it, but I just remember doing that. And then I remember Sean Berkheimer came up with a little carbon fiber thin plate with some spacers that you just change the screws on your atmospheric pressure plate, and then put these spacers and this plate over it to calm the air around the atmospheric pressure hole. And now, like GP for their 178s, they either they're doing it or Joe Louis is doing it. But when you get the ones in the U.S. from Joe Louis, they got that blue plastic cover that's just like what Sean Berkheimer was doing, only maybe a little bit better because the sides are filled in too. And I don't know if that's the whole deal or not, but we tried one of those on his carb, and it did not help. And I didn't even tell you guys what the problem is yet, but yeah, it was a flip inverted thing. So Don has a 125-inch laser with a 3W215 that he bought from me a year ago, and it's that's a badass plane with that motor. It's not a very good plane with the DA200, but with that 215, with that Falcon, I think we got a 3313 on there, is nice. And yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, all of a sudden, because he doesn't fly it for 6-8 months at a time. It just sits in the garage. Like, he's only had it for a year, but he's only flown it like twice. And I can't figure out what it is. I built that all with Viton. So the tank's done with Viton, Bobo straw. And then the lines to the carb and the vent line and the fill line, they're all Viton. It's like $70 a Viton. And got a heavy clunk, and the clunk's not stuck. We wiggled it all around. I don't know why, but when he flips inverted, it dead sticks. I mean, it's done. You got to dead stick land it. And when he started having some trouble with it, I told him to get a new carb from DA. Just let's don't even mess around. We got time to mess around. And so he did, and he put the brand new carb on there, and it runs great. Man, it runs great on the ground, and it runs great when you take off. I just pull it straight up line right off the runway, and it just goes straight up and just honks, and straight and level honks. And you can kind of get away with a roll, if you want to do like one roll across the runway. But if you just roll inverted, like just almost instantly when you roll inverted, it dead sticks, and that's kind of wild to me. Like, if it's fuel delivery, which it seems like it is, you have fuel in the fuel line. Like, even if the clunk got stuck, which it isn't, you have enough fuel in the fuel line that even if the clunk's in the air, you would still take a few seconds, quite a few seconds, before you would run out of fuel. I think I used to know more about this situation 20 years ago than I do now, because I think we used to deal with it, but I haven't dealt with this in 20 years, so I just can't remember what we did, how we fixed it, or what it actually is. Oh, we also flew it with a cowl off. That was a suggestion from Casey Johnson, Dave Johnson's son at Desert Aircraft. He told Don, we'll take the cowl off and try that, and that'll kind of eliminate weird cowl pressures so you can kind of see what's going on. And no luck with that. It did the exact same thing. Run brilliantly on the ground. Great transition, great idle, mega power at full throttle. And same thing, you take off and, up lines and level lines, it's just honking, and it really pulls the plane hard to where the plane feels light because it's getting pulled so hard, which is nice if you have one of those planes. But yeah, go inverted and it's dead stick time, like right away. So you think about, some kind of ignition thing, but that doesn't make sense. Just when it's inverted, we're like ready to change the ignition. He put on a new tank yesterday, and we're probably, if he shows up, he's supposed to show up today, and we're going to try it again. But that, now he's got a cheap tank with cheap Tygon and stuff. But I told him, we got to eliminate everything. And I guess after that we could try a new ignition, but that doesn't even make any sense. Why would ignition not work inverted? So anyway, that's a long story to have you see. If any of you guys remember anything or know anything related, post it, please. And then we'll see if we can figure it out. Maybe we'll get lucky today and it's the tank or something. I don't know. What else can I tell you that's going on, or what other questions can I answer? I did think it was kind of interesting if the guys that were talking to me about the BEC and the receiver and pulling the red line out of the plug and everything. We on these receivers in a lot of planes we run, like gassers and stuff, we'll take and plug 2 different batteries into a receiver. That's what we used to do all the time before, and we still do. Now we run them through power expanders. But then, yeah, with the power safe receivers, with the Jetty receivers, and even with these receivers, with they have 2 XT30s, you run 2 different batteries to it. So if you were running a battery from the BEC, if you're running power from the BEC, it's coming from the 6-cell battery, and that's plugged into the receiver, and it's already been cranked down to 7.4 volts through the BEC settings. And then even if you ran another battery, or I don't even know how many you could run, you could probably run 2 or 3 in addition to that one that you plugged in the receiver. Those should all work fine, right? Like, I think that's what we always do, is run more than one battery. But I haven't given this much thought at all. This isn't, I don't play with these little electric toys. Love saying that. But yeah, you guys could post any thoughts about that. Get me thinking down the right way. Of course, it's all for naught. This is just a mind exercise and a knowledge exercise about these things, because I'm not going to run the second battery. I'm going to get a speed controller with a BEC that's not DOA. But it's a curiosity. So if anybody knows anything, has any info. And shit, man. But I do love this plane. I love my Edge 540, and I love this extra. So that's pretty cool. And then I have like 3 really cool backup planes right now too that I love. And my garage is like halfway clean and organized. And I got this new radio that seems like I'm gonna like it quite a bit. So yeah, B&E Graphics has got the horizontally mirrored up on the website now, ready for anybody to pull the plug on, especially me. So yeah, everything's pretty cool. The only bummer right now is I gotta go to a stupid safety meeting. I have these safety meetings at the OCMA, like every year you have to go to the safety meeting. And all these guys are all like 70 to 80 years old. They've all been to like 15 of these meetings in a row. And, why? It's like it just should be one rule, be considerate of other people. And, yeah, and we'll just tell you in a letter, like, anyway, I'm really whining now. I should start talking about what do I was actually, oh yeah, the control horn heights and guys putting them in the wrong places on the ailerons with 2 servos. Yeah, that's my axe that I always grind. So I should start doing that too while I'm at it. What else can I start belly aching about? I really don't have anything to bellyache about. Like, everything's dialed. All right, that's 33 minutes, 34 minutes. Should be good enough. I don't even know what this is about. But that's an update. All right, out.